What's up, you absolutely wonderful Magento loving friends of mine? Joseph here with another practice test question and answer. This one is going to be interesting because you might disagree with the answer that I've chosen, but I'm going to give you what's far more valuable than the answer. I'm going to give you why. And remember, why is 80% of the value of practice test questions and answers. It doesn't matter whether the question's right or wrong or the answer is right or wrong. It doesn't matter. What matters is why. And as you understand why, you are going to become a better developer and you're going to pass that test, which is what I want you to do. You got to pass that test. So that's why we're doing these practice test questions. And if you're not going to pass a test, this helps you refine your knowledge and hopefully you're not like looking up these answers first. And well, I guess if you do, you still benefit. So either way, you stand to benefit. Let's take a look at this question. You are tasked with creating a shipping email field in the checkout, which carbon copies shipment notifications to this email address. This should be only shown for customers in the B2B customer group. In addition, the value should be pre-populated from the last order. You have created a new UI component, inserted this into the layout XML. Great work, keep it up. Keeping maintainability in mind, how do you specify this value? All right, well, this is going to be an interesting one because I can guarantee, well, there's 3 ways to do it, right? So we have a filter keeping maintainability in mind, and you'll see what's going on there. So the one thing that's most important to understand, I say most important, an important thing to remember here is that this is talking about modifying the checkout. It is very easy, and I put my hand up, I've made this mistake. It is very easy when working with modifying the checkout, working with it in some way or another, to underestimate this project. Why underestimate? Well, because our focus is on the checkout. The customer says, I need this field added to the checkout. That's the requirements. I need this field added to the checkout. And you're like, okay, well, what's the estimate to add this field to the checkout? We got to do the database model, et cetera. You work through that process. Customer gets it and says, how the heck am I supposed to view the value that the customer entered in the database? And you're like, oh, crap. Yeah, you're right. I look like an idiot. Don't make those same mistakes. I've made them plenty too often. So make sure that you think holistically when architecting or reviewing requirements such as this. Now, well, let's look at the answers, see what's going on here. A, create a class that implements config provider interface and add the shipping email value. The UI component should read window checkout config to get to the correct value. You will see this implemented all over the place. And I just gave it away by saying that this is not the correct answer. Why is this not the correct answer? Well, does anything else need access to this value? If the answer is yes, then it should be an observable. An observable will come from one central, say, UI component. You can power that up or initialize it, whatever. You can like request it as like inject it as the Knockout.js version, the dependency injection. You can inject it that way. And that can pull from somewhere else, or you can use UI. You can use layout XML to create another value, whatever. We'll talk about that here in the correct answer. But ultimately, it is against best practice. And some of you are probably saying, no, Joseph, don't say this. It is against best practice to put values into window checkout config. Yes, Magento does it. Does that mean it's the best way? No. The reason is access control. So if you are relying on window.checkout config to have the latest value, is that the latest value or is it not? Well, it could be read into a UI component. And what if it's not written out or saved properly? Well, then we don't have the latest value stored. That's where it is my understanding, and I very much agree with this, that window.checkout config should not be used in the context of loading in information or using it as a storage mechanism, which unfortunately I see that over and over and over again. So that leads me to answer B. Let's take a look at that. Create a class that implements layout processor interface, locate the UI component, and assign the last email address. Now, one thing that's important to know before we talk too much further is let's look at where this information is coming from. So we see our onepage.php class, which is a block and it has several public methods. We see get.js layout and get checkout config. Ultimately, we can go find where this is used. And ultimately, it is not pulling up. So we're going to do this the easier way. And we're going to come over here into view, front end templates, onepage.html. And we see our block get.js layout as well as get serialized checkout config. So basically, these are next door neighbors. They're friends. They have nothing. They're not enemies at all. So the question is, this comes down to this access control. So I'm giving you the backstory as far as how we get to this place, where these methods are located, and why I'm referring to layout processor versus config provider. So layout processor powers JS layout, and there's all these layout processors. And then we have the checkout config provider, which provides like the data. And I think that was the original goal, was that checkout provider provides data in here. But at the end of the day, we come across some access control problems. In other words, who is the master source of this information? And I'll be really clear. Is this going to make or break a Magento installation by using checkout config? No, I don't think so. However, as we are building modifications, customizations to the checkout workflow, I think you are going to be much happier long term. Now, here is why I think you will be happier long term. By using layout processor interface, and I have an example of this. This is now, I've made our sample project open source. So you can see this file, register Rex, not the name Rex. Actually, my grandfather was named Rex, a great name. But not the, it's REQ as in Queen, register Rex. What this ends up doing is it provides the information directly into the layout, the UI component, which then can be initialized via an observable. Get that? It can be initialized via an observable, or an observable is initialized on that property. So our information is directly dropped into the UI component, and that value becomes observable, which means we can link it into other UI components, however and whenever, wherever we want to do that. This is the power of doing it like this. It is stored in one place, and we're going to talk about more in an upcoming practice test question next week about how we pull it out of there, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself. So this is the power of inserting it directly into the UI component. So I'm just going to skip ahead here for a second and mark B as the correct answer, so there's no ambiguity here with what we're doing. All right, and then C. Create a plugin for default config provider. This is a twist on the wrong A answer, basically using shipping email. And so this is fundamentally wrong. Like A can work and A does work. It's not ideal, but it does work. C, though, is less than ideal because you're not going to be looking at local storage. It's just not going to happen. So checkout config does not map in any way into local storage. So at the end of the day, we are left with B as the right answer for this. I will welcome your comments, your challenges, whatever you think about this. This was a massive light bulb moment for me a few months back, maybe closer to a year back actually, when I was I think I was actually working on the Art of E-commerce debugging course. I think it was around there sometime. And I realized, wait, if I can directly inject it in, and I cannot for the life of me figure out where it was that I read this, and I thought it was in the Magento dev docs. I'm probably wrong though because I can't find it there, saying that it is against best practice to use checkout config. It might have been Vinay Kopp or one of the legends of the Magento community that said that. I'm not 100% sure, but at the end of the day, the idea is we are able to use this, save ourselves time, increase maintainability, and it will make your life as a developer easier. That's why I do these practice test questions, to sharpen your skill set. See you next week.